gone through that last week?
Not both, ma'am. The second one just yesterday, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just I will be giving a brief about those two lectures, and then I am moving on to the today's lecture because it's a continuation. Tracking I have discussed in last video, so I will be explaining that, and then I'll be moving on to today's lecture. We will be discussing about a different type of trackers. Let me share my screen.
Okay.
My screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
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 ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. So before talking about the tracking, the components we have discussed is three different components. One is an input components along with the tracking systems, and the intermediate you have a computer which is going to perform some simulation of a real-time world to get a virtual reality, and end you will have a display devices. So we have discussed three different types of display devices: visual, ordinal, and um, with respect to the sense of touching, which is haptic display. So, and then coming to the input devices, there are two different categories. Are there again? It can be a hand-based input or non-hand-based input. And with respect to the tracker, we have different kinds of tracker that we are going to discuss in this class. Before discussing about this, and I think last class lecture I have given you a different technologies which is involved, or the development of VR systems has been given in the last class. So let me start with a simple video. So just watch this 30 seconds video. So can you identify what are all the effects which is given for the participants or the audience? What are all the effects they are getting in this? Can you able
Motion,
to track out?
motion of the chairs where they're sitting.
Yeah, and then
Audio visual, I think.
obviously they have a vision and audio which is embedded within the device, and along with that they have another kind of experience, that is vibration experience or shock experience they can feel with this. For how they have obtained this, with the help of which device? Help of, so I think in the with respect to the haptic devices, I have given you a example also, I guess. It will get a feedback, and then based on the feedback it will start reacting. So based on that it is getting the effect in the uh, in the development stage. Also I have given you a slide how smell and all is attached with the virtual systems and all, it is there. So let me open that introduction slide, preliminary features. So early 1960s they have developed a system which focuses on motion, color, sound, and aromas, wind effect, everything. So to obtain this effect they have used separate devices. That's why they have a huge size VR displays are there in olden days. Later it has been made into one smaller system and it has been used, and for getting a effect in the seat, vibrators are used to getting a vibration effects. I'll be coming back to the tracking system. So in the case of a tracking system, before discussing about a tracking system, one more important concept you need to know, that is a degree of freedom, that I have already posted in the previous lecture. Anyway, let me show one more video for that and then I can move on to the further discussion. So we have discussed a field of interest, field of regards, and another important concept with the virtual reality is degree of freedom. How it is free. So now you can able to see what is the degree of freedom. All the VR system either will have a maximum of 6 degree of freedom or higher than that is also applicable, and 3 degree of freedom which is used for rotation with respect to x and y axis, and another 3 degree of freedom is for translation, movement from right to left or up to down, which is with respect to x, y and z axis. So 3 degrees of rotation and 3 degrees of translation. Translation is nothing but the movements that we are going to give, and in the case of rotation, it's orientation is also called as a rotation. So these two concepts we will be discussing detailedly about what is the translation, how it is performed, and what is an orientation when we are discussing our second unit. Now coming to the tracking system, there are what is the need for a tracking system, and as you know that we have an head mounted devices and hand devices or input devices are there that should be tracked so that you will get a feel of an reality. So whenever a head is moved or a hand is moved, the tracker has to track the correct location and the orientation. So we are talking about a degree of freedom, so it will capture and it will try to give you the correct position and the orientation of the user, and also with respect to the object. There are two basic categories of tracking. One is an outside in tracking, another one is an inside out tracking. So when it comes to an inside outside in tracking, here it has a fixed cameras are mounted in a fixed positions, and which will be commonly placed in a room and determines the position of the headset in relation to the environment. So whereas it comes to an inside and out tracking, the cameras or the sensors will be mounted within the headset so that it will be tracking and finding out the locations whenever there is a change in the environment. Everything will be tracked. Two videos have been shown with respect to outside in and inside out tracking in your previous lectures. You can refer it. Coming to the types right now, there are different categories of trackers are available. We will discuss what is the advantage or what is the idea it uses, what is the advantage and what is the disadvantage of each and every tracking system. The first tracking system is a magnetic tracker. In the case of magnetic tracker, the idea behind this is you can have each and everything. I'm going to give you an idea behind the corresponding tracker, advantage and disadvantage. So in the case of a magnetic tracker, it has difference between a magnetic transmitter and a receiver. So usually an electromagnetic tracker will be uses an electrical generated and received magnetic field to determine the degree of freedom of sensor devices. What is the advantage of using such kind of magnetic tracker is it will give you a 6 degree of freedom, and it is very robust. Whenever the object is tracked, it is very robust for tracking. And when it comes to a disadvantage part, this magnetic trackers have wires and sensible metals are there that may may causes some noises, and also it is pretty little expansive. And the next is an inertial tracker. In this case, it uses a collection of transmitter and transmitter and the receiver. Usually it uses speakers for transmitting, and the receivers it uses a microphone, and that passes a signal from one point to the another point. So it receives and transmits the information from as a signal from one point to the another point. The main advantage of this kind of system is I'm talking about ultrasonic tracker. So in the case of ultrasonic tracker, it uses a collection of a transmitter and a receiver that passes the signal from one point to another point. The main advantage of ultrasonic tracker is it's small and also it's cheap. And when it comes to a disadvantage part, it can able to handle only 3 degree of freedom. So whereas the magnetic tracker can able to handle 6 degree of freedom, but this cannot handle 6 degree of freedom, only 3 degree of freedom can be handled. And also the another disadvantage is it is affected with the environmental conditions such as pressure or temperature. Based on the pressure and temperature, it is going to affect the output. And coming to the second one, inertial tracker, the measuring and linear and angular orientation rates by which you can track the system. The main disadvantage of this is small, cheap, and also it isn't wireless, and no transmitter is required here. When it comes to the disadvantage part, similar to the previous tracker, ultrasonic tracker, this also has a 3 degree of freedom and low latency response to quick movement. When movements are quick, the latency will cause us a reality environment. It disturbs a reality environment. Coming to the optical tracker, in the case of an optical tracker, so when you wanted to use an optical tracker, the main thing is the person or whoever is using, they should know about an image processing and a computer vision techniques. So it uses an computer vision and image processing technique. And the it is further classified into 3 categories as specialized, marker based, and markerless tracking. In the case of a marker based, you will use a simple marker in the image, and based on the marker you can able to track. So if an object is there, you can make a marker on the object and you can able to track the object with respect to the marker which you have used. Whereas in the case of an markerless tracking, there is no marker. It will track the object without using markers. Well, the concept behind the markerless tracking is, first it will compute the edges. Either it can compute an edge of an object or a template of an object or interest point or region of interest. Based on that, it will start tracking. Edge-based tracking. So 1 minute, let me connect my device. In the case of an edge-based tracking, these uses a segmentation technique which is available in an image processing or a computer vision technique. First, the edges will be determined from the given image, and then it will be 1 minute, and then it will be tracked based on the edges. The segmentation is the process by which you can segregate the foreground and the background object. So after segregating foreground and the background object, you can track the foreground object. And when it comes to an template based matching, so you have some objects. Let us consider this is an background and you have an object here. This is one object and this is another objects we have. Let it be at something called tree. And this is a person we can have or something. So we have a two object in this image. In the case of an marker based tracking, you will first find the markers. This is the marker you will append, and based on this marking, the next frame when it goes, this will track the object based on this marker we have used. In the case of an edge detection method, markerless method, you have an object. First, the segmentation technique is applied. It will find out the foreground object, and this may be their background object, and a man, maybe the road scenario you can consider. In the road you have a tree, a person is walking in the road. So this is the foreground object, remaining thing are a background object. This foreground object can be segregated from the background object using an edge based segmentation technique. The edge based segmentation technique first draw whenever there is an abrupt change in the intensity level, it will try to give the outlines of the corresponding object. So when we represent this in the form of, for better understanding, I am representing this in the form of an intensity value. Each and every image you can represent as in the form of a function f of xy, where f of xy is the pixel location and f of xy contains the intensity value of a particular image. Let us take, we have a grayscale image. It's range from 0 to 255 values. So each and every, I guess you know what is a pixel and the intensity and all. I think you don't want much explanation about that. I'm right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So now it is an image I. Any position if you can take, that is xy. Each and every pixel position is attached with some value. That value is an intensity value. As I told you, we are considering a grayscale image. It's of intensity 0 to 255. So if you have an object, let us have an object. It's a grayscale. Just for understanding, I'm drawing it in a color. It's fully colored with this. So these pixels are colored with this. Now, when you start scanning from this position, you will check the first position and then compare with the second position. These two are having a same intensity value and this two has the same intensity value, which means these are all a one group. When you come to this portion and compare this with this, you have a different value here compared to this intensity value. Let us take the intensity value of this as, it's a white color. Let us take 10 as the intensity value. This is a black color. So just for understanding, I have put a black, the red color. Now let it be a black color. So it is somewhat 250. So you can see this pixel has the intensity value 10 and this pixel has the intensity value of 250. So there is an abrupt change in the intensity value. This forms an edge for an object. So these changing boundaries or abrupt change in the intensity forms the edge for the object. Based on this edge detection, you can further track your object based on this edge. This is an edge based method. Second method is an template based method. In the case of template, you will specify a template and that template will be compared with your image, and from that template you will start searching for it. So the template is a sub image or a sub portion or a sub window, you can say. This template will be compared based on the similarity. If this object and this objects are similar, then you can say these two are matching, and based on that you can further track the corresponding object. And the third method is an interest point, which is a region of interest, you can say. So when we talk about any scenario in this object, so the region of interest, suppose you want a person is walking, you need to only track this person, region of point with respect to this person. Tracking tree is not our objective because it is going to be a static object, only this object will be moving. So based on the region of interest, you need to check whether which positions you have to track. So the tracker will track either of these cases, either of this method. It uses this method to perform it. And the last method is an mechanical tracking. The specialized tracking is a normal optical system uses a specialized tracking. And coming to the mechanical tracker, the mechanical tracker uses a mechanical arm with the joint sensors. So based on that sensor value, it will try to provide the values. And it the main advantage of using this is it's highly accurate, and the precision is also high. And another advantage is it will give you an haptic feedback by which you can get the input and then you can process further. And coming to the disadvantage, it's an little expansive. So some examples of these devices are given here. So electromagnetic tracking system, which the first case magnetic tracking we have discussed. So you can see a person is wearing a glass, and you can see a box. A signal is sensed by the receiving antenna, which allow the system to determine the location and orientation of the receiver. And ultrasonic tracking, it uses as I told you earlier, it uses speakers and microphones. So based on the signal which is transmitting, it can track. Mechanical tracker, it uses some mechanical arms with sensors. Based on that, it can further perform the tracking. Optical tracking, some examples of optical trackers are given here. This is AR toolkit, and some glasses are used as an optical trackers, and also this ball track balls are used as a tracking devices. And coming to the category of tracking devices, the tracking devices are categorized into three different categories: active, passive, and hybrid. In the case of active, device sends an output signal. So we have discussed a different category, out of which these three categories, mechanical, magnetic, and ultrasonics, will produce or receives and transmit some signal. So this kind of tracking systems are called active tracking system. Passive tracking systems, device senses the world, and based on that it applications, we are going to perform this in a different coordinate systems. When we talks about a coordinate system, I will talk something about a computer graphics concepts for better understanding sake. Anyway, in second unit, we will be discussing detailedly about that. You can see how the graphics pipeline is there. First we need to create an first step is we have to create an object. As we know that the VF step is first you should initialize what is the objective, and based on the objective you have to select the corresponding scenes and then you have to render it. That is the steps we have learned already. So we need to represent a 3D object. So the 3D objects are represented. After representing, transform into an camera coordinate, and then we have to clip again the given view volume and we have to project it, and after projecting it, it will be projected. The 3D object will be projected into 2D object for display. So the display devices are called device coordinates. So this is a general pipeline in the case of computer graphics, and another pictorial representation is specified here for better understanding. We have different coordinates system that you should be keep in mind, and how each and every coordinate are going to be acted. We have modeling coordinate system, that is for object coordinates. Once you have decided this is my object I am going to use, I am going to draw a sphere. It's a 3D object I'm going to draw. So it is drawn in a modeling coordinate. You know what is the information should be there, what are all the geometrical properties are required for drawing a sphere. It requires x, y, z value and a radius r for drawing the sphere. So this object value, whatever you are considering, that is called as an object coordinate, or you can call it as an modeling system, a coordinate system. And once the object is designed, it should be it has to be given into the world space, which is called as an W coordinate system. We have modeled an object, two different objects are modeled, and we are trying to give this to an world space, which is called as a world coordinate. So everywhere you can see it's a 3-dimensional coordinates. Now those two objects are going to be placed in the modeling coordinate values are now converted into one world coordinate value. And then after this, world coordinate is going to be converted into one camera space. There we can call it as an camera coordinates, or also it can be called it as an viewport coordinate system. Viewport coordinate system or a camera coordinate system. Once it is converted into one viewport or a camera coordinate, finally it will be converted into one device coordinate for displaying in the corresponding devices. So this is the hierarchy we have to follow. First, design an object. The object coordinates are called as a modeling coordinate system. Once it is designed, try to map that into world space or a world coordinate system. Once it is mapped, again it needs to be mapped into one viewing port system, and then finally it will be given to one device coordinate system for display. So I can say you a simple example. You are watching something through your eye. So already we have discussed you can have a vertical field of view we have discussed. Now you can watching something on horizontal or a vertical direction. So you have a camera with you and you are trying to capture some scene out of it. So I will be just 1 minute. Yes, you are viewing something through your normal eye, so you can able to capture all these things. Now you are keeping a camera here and you are trying to capture something. What will be the field of view now? Can you able to capture the entire object that you are seeing through your eye in a camera? Is the
No.
field of view is same or different?
Different.
Different. What will be the difference? In the camera you can able to capture more objects, or it will reduces the object capturing capacity.
It reduces, ma'am.
Reduces. Suppose in the camera I am using an option zoom in and zoom out. So if I'm zooming in, what will happen?
It reduces again.
Reduces.
Zoom out.
Increases the.
Increases.
You can increase some more objects. So now with respect to this whatever explanation we had here, with respect to this explanation, you have a world coordinate and a camera coordinate. How can you map this? Which one is a world coordinate and which one is a camera coordinate? So just you are watching entire screen, which is an world coordinate, and you are making an another camera devices and you are trying to capture it. That is camera coordinate. So after capturing, it will be saved in some form that will be projected into one space for display. Either it can be projected into one display devices for display. So if you are projecting a 3D object into a 2D object, you wanted to display a 3D display into a 2D, what you have to do? Can you able to see all the 3D objects in a 2D plane?
Yes,
No.
ma'am. We can't see the whole thing, but we can project
It
it.
depends on the viewing
Projection.
direction you are using. Suppose if you are having an object, let me again open. You can able to view, but it depends on the direction you are using. So let us take this object. If I am viewing from the top, I can able to see. If I am viewing from the top, my eye is here and I am viewing from the top, I can able to see this portion. If I am able to view from this side, so I can able to see this portion. It's better if it is a cube, it will be easy for explanation. So anyway, if I am viewing from the bottom, I can able to see the bottom object. So this is a 3D object. You can view all this direction, but wherever you are viewing, only that portion you can see in the 2D plane. It's correct? It's
Yes.
clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So in our second unit, we are going to discuss different categories of this 3D, or how to create a 3D object, how to project a 3D object in a 2D plane, everything we are going to discuss in our second unit. So as I told you, we have a different coordinate systems. With now coming to the tracking part, there are several coordinate frames to be considered. With respect to one head, we have an real world, the coordinate frame of tracking system with respect to head mounted display, position of hand in coordinate system of hand tracker. So when you use a hand tracker, the corresponding information should be tracked. With respect to head, corresponding information should be tracked. So everything should be tracked. You can see here head motion tracking camera to track the head portions, and whatever the object it is there, that will be tracked, and finally the body motion tracker tracking it, and finally you can able to see the virtual reality objects. Now another example which shows finding your hand in VR system. So the device is given here and you have a different directions X, Y, Z. Now we are viewing with respect to a 3D plane, and how you are going to find out this. Before explaining this, I will be explaining another video which will show you how this coordinate system is matching with your device coordinate. Then it will be very clear to you. Let me open another video. Yes. Can you able to see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. You can see the person is having a device, head-mounted device. So he is rotating here and there. Can you able to see the difference in the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So when he is rotating, you can see how it is aligned with the device coordinate. As I told you, based on the viewpoint, your object will, whatever you are viewing, that will vary. So now he is trying to rotate and he can able to show you how it is displayed in the display system. And coming back to here, we have multiple coordinate frames. The different coordinates are named with different names here: leap, motion track, and head mounted display coordinate frames in VR system. To find out the hand in VR coordinate system, we need to multiply all this coordinate value to get the final position of your VR system. I'll be showing few more example how the tracking systems are working. As I told you earlier, we have different kind of trackings or examples are specified here. Can you tell me this comes under inside out or outside in tracking?
Outside and right?
Outside in tracking. Reason?
Because sensors are outside and they're tracking.
Yeah, cameras are mounted. You can see the cameras are mounted here. It's fixed here, and within the room it is fixed, and he is able to play some games. So the sensors, the informations are captured. Based on that, it is giving you a output. So he is using some wearable sensors. And another example also is there. Can you able to correlate the previous with this? I mean, the screen and the screen.
Yes, ma'am.
So what is happening in both the thing? What is the correlation between these two images?
Whatever he's doing is reciprocated.
Yeah,
Here.
the person is wearing headset. He can be able to view this. Whatever direction he is moving, whatever he is viewing inside the camera, that is displayed for us for clear understanding. Here it uses a 2 degree of freedom. Earlier we have discussed 3 degree and 6 degree of freedom gives a better immersive experience. but here it uses a 2 degree of freedoms only. What are all the 2 degrees?
Where he's walking and
Yes, walking, another one.
motion around the platform.
Yes. So he is walking, and in another thing, it is inclined with some angle, which is all otherwise called as a rotation. Some angle of rotation is there. So based on these two things, the corresponding example is used. And he uses a many sensor, with the help of the sensor, we can track out the positions and you can show it in the real-time VR systems. I think the examples clears you what is the tracking, how it is tracked in an any VR system is clear to you. We have 2 more topics to discuss, which is 3D menu and 3D scanner. That is the end of our first unit. So I think other contents where we discussed. You can watch the previous recorded videos for clarity. Thank you.